Howdy lovelies, how are you all doing? Welcome back to our crafting, where we learn, grow and craft together. In today's session, in our circular journal, our journal that is, we're going to work on some scraps. I've got it here for you, and there are different patterns, different lengths, and it's all good. Some parts are missing, not to worry. I'm going to pick one of the discs. The back side, I think all of them are now done on the one side. From here onwards, I will go and add maybe photos and things like that, to my own heart's desire to just fill up my art journal. But you can do what you want to do, what you need to do in yours. There's no prescriptions. You do you. A dear friend of mine always say, you do you, boo. So do it, be you, and feel comfortable with what you're doing. So without further ado, let's dive right into this. Let's quickly recap what we have done so far. We started off with a circle medley that was just prints with different kinds of lids and caps and things, different sizes, bit of stenciling, and then used a golden paint pen, Posca pen, to just add a bit of detail on top, little stamp that was matted on black, and that's it, but we still have this one on the other side. Then we've done the pattern, and we divided the circle basically in four, and then the idea was to only use white, but remember, I got so carried away that I added a bit of orange here and there. Not an issue. Retrospect, I think I would just want to add a tiny little white dot in there and maybe a little pattern along the line there as well. And nothing stops you from adding to your project as you go on. Then this session was Teacher's Pet. Remember that little one in my class, great one, that was drawing me this picture. And I promised the day that I use it in my art journal, I will then make sure I let his mommy know to show him. And I did. And yes, it was a little boy child, very dear to my heart, like all my children that I've ever taught. Oh yes, and remember, I had then turned the page and was skew, so I just had to close up that hole and just re-punch it. Numbers, because it's a circular art journal, it's a perfect circle, 360 degrees, and you will see when we finalize the journal, the whole idea to bring it all together. For this one, I've added the eyelets already. There's a few of them, and then I realized no, I should actually add it after I completed the pages. That's why some of them have it and others don't. We will still add the eyelets. So this was done with paper that was stamped with glad wrap, saran wrap for some of you, others just call it simply plastic wrap. You scrunch it up and you just, in a very thin layer of paint, dab it and then use that as a stamp. Yes, it can quickly get messy, or if you are not into getting the mess on your hands, you can wear gloves and then use that, but I don't mind. It just shows me I've had fun if my fingers are a little bit dirty. Just put a number stamp here at the bottom in its entirety and just ink the edges and layer it a bit with foam tape. A bit dotty, just circles. Love this bit of paper that I had left, and then added some punch out circles with some stickers on the edge. Beautiful photo will round this off wonderfully. Then in the garden, butterfly garden, used a rose stencil stamp with some watercolor pencils, distress watercolor pencils that is, added some paint, again used that same plastic stamp technique and dipped it in different colors of paint, and then had this wonderful, which I wonder if you can really see if I turn it, you can see the gold in that bit of glimmer because of the paint that I used. You know I love vintage, so I added a doily that we inked and some prints. This print is from DG and SVG Designs for you. You can find them on Etsy, and on my Instagram I also have linked them with numerous of my projects. This is my own printable. I designed it myself, added some stamping, which was then on the yellow one. Our Zen Doodle, the first time ever I made a Zen Doodle, so some of these things are also new to me. I loved making this one, and I'm thinking of just getting a little journal just for Zen Doodles, where you can just sit and have this repetitive pattern and have fun in the process of designing it. Then this was tulips, as my heart was really longing for Netherlands again. Beautiful. You know that they are very famous for their tulips, and there's that beautiful song also from years back that I remember. When it's spring again, I'll bring again tulips from Amsterdam, and of course they import the tulips. I just love it. I think a beautiful addition would have been a tiny little windmill in the background of this one. And yes, you can see that at the back it somehow decided to glue down on the plastic that I was using. Some of the gesso run through the holes. There's some imprints on here. Not to worry, you can cover it in its entirety with a different color paper, or if you're into mixed media, you can add something to the back. It's all perspective. Was the rings that we cut with a similar type of pattern, just mark making. Olympic inspiration, A very dear friend of mine's daughter had attended the Special Olympics recently in Berlin, and that is where this one came. Yes, a little bit of an afterthought. Way many weeks after she attended, she was there in, I think it was June already, and yeah, this is only aired recently. So there we go. And then the beautiful Hajar range in the UAE is the natural border between the UAE and Oman. And at different parts in the UAE, you can see these mountains. And if you ever have a privilege to travel here, you can go to the Fujairah area, which is where I got this inspiration from for this journal page. And I've said it many times, I'm no painter, so don't worry about it if you're not. It's the process. It's not the end result that is important. It is the process of you finding joy in what you are doing. Nobody can tell you that whatever you had done is right or wrong. However, I'm always open to people helping me and develop my skills as a journaler. So if you got tips for me, I think I did a pretty darn good job. But I'm sure other people will laugh at me. But I've added some texture there and showing the different layers with a beautiful, beautiful sunrise. Could also be a sunset. I still need to finish this off, most of the pages, with a beautiful saying, quote, whatever thought that is crossing my mind. So for today, the covers are left, so we need to do another one. So I think I will just turn this one over and we will use this page. I just want to see if this is actually, yeah, it is. So we can use this one. I was just seeing if it was aligned well enough to do what I think I want to do. The idea for today is just to add the strips of paper to fold this and have a heart in the middle. And for that, I think I'm going to just take a piece of paper and quickly cut a heart. This was my list. I just need to keep it. It gives me my dates and stuff of projects that I've done. So I just want to cut a heart from here. Just folded it double so that it's easy. Can't be too big, so this is it's good. Maybe a bit shorter, but not using a stencil or anything. Just going to cut this freehand. Might have to adjust it a little bit. Yep, this might be too wide, so we'll just trim this a little bit and see how it looks from here. If you have a stencil of a heart, or you maybe have a card that has got a heart or something, you're more than welcome to use that. And this is why I start bigger, because I know I normally trim till there's nothing left of the heart, and then I restart with another one. This can work. Maybe just trim that a little bit. I'm okay with that shape, and I will just throw this away. And I just realized after I said I should keep those dates, I just trimmed it all away, so now I don't have it anymore. So pencil, grab a pencil. We're going to trace this just for ourselves, so just make sure you have that orientation. I'm just going to trace this little heart so we have the outline of it in the middle. Oh, and it keeps moving. I push it in, so I trace underneath it. So that should be more or less okay. What we're going to start now is using our glue sticks, and we're going to add our strips of paper. In no particular order, you can do just one color, two colors, leave a little bit. If you use one color, say for instance you've done that, you could maybe leave a little space in between so that you can see the paper better. Otherwise it will look as if you just covered the background. What is the most scariest moment of a crafter's life? Who can tell me? Anybody knows? Yours might be different from mine, but when you take your glue stick and you open it up and you realize that is what it looks like, that's all the glue you have left, then you really, really get a fright. Because if you can't start a project and you first have to go to the shop, then it is a big spanner in the works. Luckily, no, I don't throw this out. I use it normally when I make masterboards. I've got, this will be my 7th tube. But luckily, I still have one glue stick. Oh, thankful for that. So let's get started with this. You can leave a comment at the bottom and tell me, what is your most scariest moment as a crafter? What is it that scares you the most in your craft area, the place where you sit and work, whether you're privileged to have a room, or you have just a little workspace, or even if you have to back up at the end of the day or after you have finished with what you are doing, because you have to serve dinner or people are coming over, whatever the case might be, having guests over. It really truly is a blessing if you have a little space where you can actually sit and craft, whether it's a room or a desk or even like a TV tray. Let's get started with this. Let me know, what is your most scariest moment while crafting? Glue stick, going to start adding this. The idea is just to fill up around. Yes, there will be areas where these strips are not formed well. We will cut it off and just fill in those areas. You can do it at a diagonal if you want to. I'm going to try and do it like the sun rays. And there's a bit of glue now, because I put more glue on there. Let's see. You can do it in a pattern, like have it at an angle maybe. You know me, I try and save paper as much as possible, simply because it's not so readily available. But I must say, if you look at my craft room, you will never say paper is not readily available. What I mean with that is paper packs here by me is quite expensive. You don't always find what you're really looking for. This can go onto a masterboard, and you know me, I normally work on that while I'm busy with a project. So for my masterboards, I normally just use A4 cardstock, a GSM, which is not very thick, because you're going to add the layers of paper to it. It becomes quite sturdy, so I like to use the thinner ones. So as I go on and I'm finishing with these strips, I will just add them at random, and then later this can be used to make pockets or a cover. It can be tags, it can be anything, bookmarks, you name it, belly bands. All of it can be done from a masterboard. So I'll just move that to one side, and as we go on, we will add to that. I love orange, so I will continue with orange. And I think I will keep with this pattern, and I will be adding some in between at a later stage. Now some of them are a bit shorter than my other strips, and it's not an issue. I will do a few more on here, and then I will do the rest off camera, as I do not want to bore you stuff. This is too short to add. It will not cover that. It will be short, so I will just add this one to my masterboard. So I need another of that pattern. I hope I have another one. Oh, I do. That is fortunate. Let's do it this side. I was going to do it on this side of it to keep to the pattern, but it will be too close to that one. I just want to add a few more strips so that you can see what we are doing here. Let's do a dark blue as well. And yes, you can use whatever glue you have. You don't have to use what I am using. I glued that one right in. I see. No need for that. It can literally just be within that margin of the heart. Let's do it there. This one I might have added too far away from there, so it will be difficult to fill in there. So we'll just cheat a little bit when we get there and put a few smaller strips in. So all these tiny little bits that's left will be added to the masterboard. So while we are busy with one project, we can get this other one going. Just make sure the ends are glued down well, because you don't want it to lift off. So let's get a bit of green in here. You can, of course, make it wider blocks of color, like little chunks. That one needs to be pulled in because it needs to cover the heart shape. All kinds of paper. You can stick with one theme, like vintage or a shabby chic patterning, or just anything bright and bold, beautiful, which is what I've got here. No need to have specific paper, but if that is your jam, you do you. You can add whatever you want to your journal. A couple of weeks down the line, I would want to start with another art journal page or art journal itself, and for that one we will really go into some mixed media, and we will make use of stencils and stamping and maybe focal images from magazines and things like that. This one needs a bit of glue at the end because it will lift off. Last bitty of this little strip. Maybe that one. And after this little strip, I will be going off camera and just complete the filling in part of this. Let's start here. So I'm back. We can hardly see the shape of the heart anymore, and there are a tiny few little spots in between where there's no paper, but we can easily fix that. I'm going to just cut a strip. Maybe I should do this with a ruler and a craft knife. Just move that masterboard out of the way, and this up just to straighten it a bit. There's the silly fruit fly thingy running around. Craft knife. We don't need it. That's just a centimeter. It's just to fill in those spots. And yes, this was scrap paper from some other little project. So let's quickly do that. A bit of glue. Just wanting to fill that little gaps there. And yes, you can see I didn't put glue on the end because I wasn't sure where it would end. So, and then there's one more, and then we have to repunch the holes. That is easily fixed. You can see any type of paper is just perfect for this. And a wonderful scrap buster project. The masterboard is coming on nicely as well, with tiny little bits of paper that is glued onto it. I know it's nowhere near to finish. There's still quite a bit of paper left, or cardstock left, that needs to be covered with paper. I'm going to grab the hole punch and just repunch that so that we can see the orientation of this at the back. Now it was the bigger hole. I just have to line it up nicely. You can see I'm just repositioning it over there and just punching. Doing the same. This one has got where is my little pin? It's just a paper clip that I opened up just to have to push those little things out. And you can see again, line it up and punch the hole. And if you clean that, it's ready for the next time's use. Little pin back in its place, then I know where it is next time. And of course, always close the craft knife because accidents happen so fast. Now for our little heart shape that we had, the orientation was something of this sort. There we go. And we have that. Now I want to use this jade green. It's like a teal color. So I'm just going to cut this, and I wonder if I shouldn't do it a tiny bit bigger. Let me just see if this is all covered. Actually, it's not. You see there, I've done a little bit short. My strips were a little bit shorter. And even here, so I need to just enlarge my heart a tiny little bit. Just a tiny little bit. Let's see. I do not want to fold this again, but we can trace this one. Oh, and it moves. So I trace it underneath instead of next to the paper. And then the easiest way to get that bigger is just to follow that line, but cut it a bit bigger. Won't be much bigger, but it will definitely be helpful. And you can erase the line if you want to, or you can simply turn it over and use the other side. And there we have it. It's ready, so let's glue it down. A beautiful quote will round this off, which I'm not going to add today. I just wanted to show you another scrap buster project to use tiny little scraps of paper to make a beautiful background. And the orientation is there, so let's just add this heart. And enlarging it that tiny little bit helped to cover my bubbles where I've cut the paper too short. I would go ahead and just add a quote on here, whether that is stamped. Sometimes you find these pre-cut little quotes that you can add, or you can take something from a magazine or an old card. And there we have today's one, the start of a masterboard. I will continue off camera completing that using a few more other strips, and then maybe in one of the next sessions can I show you what we do with this masterboard. And yes, it is quite bold, but you can always use gesso to tone it down a little bit. Thank you for joining me today. Go try and work on your journal, whether that's a square or rectangle, a pre-bound book, your own, where you have gathered some papers to use, old magazine, old copybook of your child, and be creative. Nobody can tell you it's right or wrong. It's yours. You made it. If you want to see more content like this, please give me a thumbs up. And as always, I'll appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel too. And if you really want to be very kind, helpful, and very sweet, you can please share this video with your friends. See you back soon. Goodbye.